V1. Rotate.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Flight Sim 008 video with Fly UK. It's been a while since I've jumped into the sim, as immediately following the graphics card upgrade, I moved house. So apologies for videos being a bit scarce these days. Anyway, we're at Gatwick this afternoon, and I fancied taking out the jumbo jet since I haven't had much time to fly it since I bought it a few months ago. I'm not planning to log the hours towards my career, so we'll just call this an ad hoc flight. There's a Vatsim event on a bit later called Crossing Tuesday, which takes place over Cologne and Zurich, which will be fully staffed. So our plan is to hop down to Zurich and take advantage of the control over there. Departure's at 15:30 Zulu, so we've got about 40 minutes until the pushback. Let's jump in the flight deck and get set up for our short hop over to mainland Europe. Alright, over in the flight deck, this aircraft has just been towed over from the hangar, the maintenance facilities, so basically it's in a cold and dark state. So the first thing we're going to want to do is turn on the battery, get some power into this aircraft, and the standby power goes to auto. That should start to bring the aircraft to life. We'll turn the utility buses on, and the four buses over there. Wait for the aircraft to power up a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to do the little cheaty menu thing and hook up the ground power, and we want ground air source as well. There we go. So we'll leave that like that for now. So now we've got ground power, we can go ahead and connect that. There we go. There's many fantastic tutorials on YouTube on how to operate and fire up the 747, so I'm not going to go into that too much. We're going to be talking about a couple of little quirks of the Rolls-Royce variant of the 747, which Fly UK operates. I also pre-configured this aircraft with the LCD screens and the newer updated FMCs, just because I like the look. I prefer the way they operate, I suppose. I'm a big fan of the 777 by PMDG, and they have the newer style FMCs, so I'm kind of just used to the interface a little bit more so at least than the older ones. What are we missing? We can go into the FMC here and ident, and you can see the aircraft is starting to come to life. What are we missing? We can go ahead and turn these on. Those are the engine generators, I believe. My knowledge, again, on the 747, not fantastic. It's something that I didn't want to record a full-on, regular video for the regular series until I was up to snuff with the 747 procedures. So that's why I just wanted to have a little bit of fun today. We're going to fly down to Zurich, maybe hopefully get some ATC along the way, and just take out the jumbo for a spin. Okay, so the FMC is ready for our initial position. We can go ahead and feed it our initial airport, which is Gatwick. We are at stand 53. I don't think that's going to take. No, it's not. That's fine. We do have a company route, which is Gatwick to Zurich, H01, like so. We can plug that into there. I'm going to leave that there for now. The IRSs are still aligned. On the overhead panel, before we board the passengers and any of that good stuff, the emergency lights, they're armed. We can go ahead and do our overhead flows. So we've got the 3 IRSs to nav, standby powers to auto, utility buses are on, external powers connected, those are all good. The hydraulics stay off. Second column, cargo fire, blah blah blah. Start, no. Jettison, definitely not. The fuel we'll configure in a little bit once we talk about that kind of stuff. We can go ahead and turn on the window heats. The yaw dampers, we can go ahead and put those on. They're still gonna be off until we commence some hydraulic power anyways. And let's go ahead and configure the air. So we are running off of external air. So we can go ahead and put trim air on. We can put the recircs on, the gasper and the humidifier. And we'll leave pack 2 on and the other 2 off, so that's fine. Just a little bit of air circulation. Go ahead and turn all of these bleeds on. The 747 requires the engine bleeds all on in order to start. Interesting quirk that I didn't read the manual at first, and I was trying to get the engine started. They didn't start. I was wondering why. That might be one of your problems if you're having such problems. So let's go ahead, and we have 3 FMCs here. This third one, oops, didn't mean to do that, but okay. The third one we will use for our FS actions, and these 2 here we will use for our setup. So we've got Gatwick to Zurich. Let's have a quick look at the charts and the weather. I'm not going to do a full-on like I usually do in terms of going to the briefing room and all that because, well, I already passed the briefing room on my way to the aircraft, and I don't feel like walking back. So, Active Sky Next says the temperature is 18, the dew point is 16, surface wind is 150 at 5. I already checked in the real world. Now, in the UK, the preferential runway system is for the westerly runways up until 5 knots tailwind. I checked the real world. They are operating on the 8, so 08 right is what we will be departing on. Visibility is okay. It is cloudy. It was raining a little bit here earlier, and the pressure is 1005. We'll take a quick look at the charts. We are at stand 53, I believe, which is here. And we're hoping to depart off 08 right. No ATC at the moment. Oh, you know what? We just got Gatwick Tower, which is fantastic. So we will call them up. Expecting 08 right. Probably Lima to either Quebec or all the way down to Romeo. And then Juliet. And then if we go to our airport chart, Juliet all the way to Juliet 1 around here. We are going to derate the takeoff. Because we're very, very light, especially for a 747. A lot of power in those 4 engines. And our first waypoint in our flight plan, the flight plan will be down here, by the way, as always. The first waypoint in our flight plan is Dover, hard altitude restriction of 6,000, so off of 08. It's basically straight out and then a slight right turn to intercept the Dover 271 radial inbound to Dover. So we'll get that all set up. In the meantime, we can put in our, hang on, probably just switch the views here. What do I want? I want this one? Yeah, let's go with this one. All right. So, 08 right is what we said. 08 right, like so. Flight number is UKV1786. And by the way, even though we technically don't have the rank for this, we're free to, as long as we're not filing for the hours, in terms of using the Fly UK Skytrack application and logging the hours, we're totally free to fly this aircraft in it. It's a cheeky little loophole. So activate, execute. We want departure 08 right. We want the Dover, what is it? 2 Papa or 2 Whiskey? 2 Papa, which is the RNAV, I believe. Let me just have a quick check. Hang on. Let's go back here. 2 Papa and 2 Whiskey. Straight ahead, blah, blah, blah. Crossing, Dover, intersection 5,000 or above. Oh, right, so it's the, yeah, it would be for 08 right and 08 left. So we're on the Dover 2 Papa out of Gatwick. No transition. We can go ahead and execute that. We'll have a quick look at what that looks like on our ND. So we go to the plan page, we zoom out all the way out, and there's that straight out departure, and then a slight right turn to intercept the 271 radial to Dover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to nav radio, and we will put in, we don't want biggin, we can go ahead and put DVR on number 2, DVR, where are you, DVR, Romeo, there we go, like that. And we want it's the 271 outbound, so the 091 inbound. 091 is the course, like so. And our initial is Gatwick, so it is 110.9, 110.9, like so. Oh, come on. 90? No? Alright. Well, we'll just use Dover then. Anyways, so that's into that. We were checking, right, okay, so, all that's good. Let's go to our legs page, make sure we don't have any inconsistencies. BLM, which is the Basel Mulhouse VOR, is our final waypoint, and I already know that from there, it doesn't matter what the runway is, we're using the Basel 2 Golf, which is the RNAV out of that one, so we can go ahead and plug that in already. And we can go to our init ref, 0 fuel weight, plug that in. Reserves is 9.1, I believe. Cost index for the 7.4 is 90 at Fly UK, and our cruise altitude is 390. Like I said, very, very light today, so we're straight up to 390. Thrust limits, we're going to derate quite a bit. Now, this is one of the things of the 747. We'll talk about EPR probably on the taxi out. But the Rolls-Royce engines on this aircraft, they've decided to use EPR, which is a pressure differential, as the master, what do you want to call it, power rating, essentially, for the for the aircraft, whereas N1 is a secondary, and N2, whoops, I don't know what happened there, sorry about that, N2 and N3 down here. So EPR is what the flight management computer is going to use as a value to set thrust, instead of N1 in a lot of aircraft that you see flown in many other videos and in real life. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. As for the takeoff, whoops, we don't want that. No, hang on. Thrust limits. Can we derate it even more? Yeah, let's do 35 degrees as well. Had it been raining, I'd have been a little bit more hesitant. A lot of SOPs indicate that you can derate a takeoff using the initial 10% or 20%, but if the runway surface is damp or wet, then you're not allowed to do a double derate, just for anti-skid and safety purposes. So, because it's not quite raining at the moment, we'll keep an eye on that, but we'll leave it at 35 degrees, and we will do a flaps 10 departure, like so. We want the acceleration height to be 3,000, like so, and we want our thrust reduction to be nice and early at 1,500 feet, like so. Wind, not really a factor, we'll just put in 2, and the slope is 0 because P3D. Let's see, center of gravity, that will automatically populate, so we have 24%, and the trim will be 4.7. We can go ahead and accept these. I will put in V2 plus 10, which would be 157, into our MCP, 57 like so. We know our runway heading is 079er, all the way up to 079er. And our initial altitude on this SID, which we said was at Dover, is 6,000. So that is what we will put into the MCP as well. 6,000 like so. And we can go ahead and turn on the flight directors, my side on the left first. And that should be enough of that. On this side, we will take terrain and traffic, even though the TCAS isn't quite on yet. That is fine. And what else? Let's see, we've got brake source, that's fine. Hydraulics, not armed. Auto brakes, yeah, okay. Yaw damper, because there's no hydraulics. Auto start is off, that's fine. We will be starting manually. Xfeed config, we'll get to the interestingly complex fuel configuration on this aircraft in just a little bit. We can go ahead and turn our altimeters to hectopascals, and it is 1005. So we'll bring this down, 98765, like so, showing 220-ish feet, which checks. And what else can we do? We can turn this back to map. We will take weather on that, and we will take traffic in a little while. We'll zoom this back in, like so. All right, and I think we can go ahead and, I forgot to do this a little bit earlier, but we can open the doors. So, ground support doors, there we go. So we don't want the upper deck, we want 1, 2, and 5, and we want cargo forward, aft. Leave the bulk closed, and that's about it. So we'll go ahead and do the walk around because once again I don't have a first officer. Mysteriously absent today, called in sick, probably because I haven't flown the 7.4 in a while and my qualifications are made up. Let's do the walk around and we'll get the... sorry about that, that was my cell phone. We will get the passengers boarded and we are about 25 minutes-ish to our departure time. So as the passengers board, we are going to tune to Gatwick Tower, which is online. I've already listened to the ATIS. The ATIS information is Foxtrot. We are operating on 08 right, so we are correct on that. Expecting the Dover to something or other, which was the Dover to... Hang on. I got this. I got this. Dover to... Papa. Let's see. Starting the APU. Getting that fired up, we can go ahead to statistics, stats on this side and watch as it fires up. That is fine. Let's give Tower a call. Gatwick Tower, how you doing? Skyways 1786, 747, stand 53, information Foxtrot, request IFR to Zurich.
Skyways 1786, hello Gatwick Tower, are you able to accept an Oddvig 1 Zulu departure?
Oddvig 1 Zulu, we'll have a look at that. Skyways 1786, stand by. Oddvig 1 Zulu, okay, that's a curveball. Hang on. Let's see. Lamborn. Oddvig, yeah, Oddvig 1. Tower Skyways 1786 is able, the Oddvig 1 Zulu departure.
Okay, Skyways 1786, you cleared Zurich, Oddvig 1 Zulu departure, squawk 1163.
Cleared to Zurich, flight plan route, Oddvig 1 Zulu, and 1163, Skyways 1786.
Skyways 1786, read back right report.
Welcome. Alright, so a little bit of curveball, we can go ahead and, let's see, what does that do for us?
Good afternoon, Stibler 76, requesting radio check.
Go ahead and mute that for a little bit. Okay, let's see. Do legs on this side. What is the leg? So it's kilo all the way to Oddvig. Okay. And then we can go ahead and connect, what do we want? We want Dover, don't we? Hang on. What was my flight plan? Let's go have a look at the flight plan. Like so. That links up. Alright. I got this, guys. I got this. It's been a while, but I got this. Okay, so per finite, we're going to have to relook at this. So we'll put this on the legs page, and we will put this on the thrust limit. That stays the same, 157, and 147, 157. All of that stays the same. Good. Do we have 08 right in there? Departure. Oh, that's why. Oddvig, 1 Zulu, execute. Now we go back to this, and then we do this. That's why. I hadn't selected the runway. So, yes, I know we're going to have to do this for a third time. Thrust limits, blah, blah, and blah. Squawk was 1163. So we can go ahead and plug that in. 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3. RTO. APU should be fired up at this point. Yes, it is. So let's go ahead and transfer over to the APU. APU bleed is already on. Pack 1 is on, or Pack 2 is on. So that's all hunky-dory. Let's see, we can go ahead and disconnect the exterior power and ground. So ground support, ground power, disconnect, return, air source, disconnect, return, and return. And all we need is doors. We will stand by on that. TCAS still off. We've got Dover on VOR 2. And for some reason I could never get the Gatwick identifier. Even if I put it into nav radio, we go, no, this won't accept it. Not exactly sure why. Either way, we'll deal without it. It's fine. We have our runway heading. We'll just use heading select and then, well, actually we'll just put it in LNAV, honestly. To be honest, that's the easiest way to do it. 1005, that hasn't changed. We can, let's see, nav lights should have been on a long time ago. That's my bad. Overhead. So the engine start on this, hang on, we do have an auto start, which basically means that as long as the pressure or as the bleeds are on and everything like that, it's the same in the triple. You just pull the two the starter knobs and then introduce or flick on the fuel, and it basically takes care of itself. What we're going to do is we're going to do it kind of like the 737, where we're going to fire up the starters, wait for a certain N1 percentage, and N2 rotation, and then introduce the fuel that way. Just because I like to give myself a little bit more work. Aft cargo heat we don't need. Pack reset, high flow, etc., etc. Standby power, APU, we're good there. So, just waiting for the passengers to finish boarding. We've got 12 minutes until pushback, or until departure time. So I will probably cut this here and talk to you in a bit. Alright, the bridge is coming off. The passengers are on board.
Cockpit, we're ready for pushback.
And Gatwick delivery and ground came online, so we can skip delivery altogether since we already got our clearance with tower, and we'll go straight to ground, which was on 121.8, which we're already pre-tuned.
Locking gear.
And we will turn on both beacons, and the fourth hydraulic pump goes to auxiliary. That's pretty much it for now. We can go ahead and turn the demand pumps on. That. Pack 2, the APU is strong enough to run one of the packs and start the engines at the same time.
And release parking brakes, sir.
Excuse me. And we will go ahead and call ground for our pushback. Gatwick ground, Skywise 1786. Already picked up our IFR with tower earlier. Stand 53 ready for the push and start.
Skywise 1786. Good evening, push and start approved, face west.
Face west, and good evening, Skywise 1786.
Commencing the push, Captain. Start engines at your discretion.
Like so. Go ahead and turn on the TCAS. I'm not sure if they use EZdok or not, but let's go ahead and turn that on to on. And we will turn this to the engine page for now. And away we go. We'll wait until we get a little bit further back from the stand, as always, before our engine start procedures. Alright, so let us start number 3 and 4. Auto start is on.
058 Bravo Echo, good evening. Can you just confirm what aircraft type you're on really quickly?
Excuse me.
Please repeat the number.
Oops, I forgot the isolation valves. That would
Bravo
probably
Echo,
help.
can you just confirm your aircraft type for me quickly? I don't seem to have it here.
So, starting number 3 and 4 rather. Sorry if the Vatsim client is a little bit loud in the background. I'll adjust that as we go. Pushback is nearly complete.
Okay, November 58 Bravo Echo.
N2.
Do you want stands already parking, by the way?
And introduce the fuel.
Parking to, taxi to, parking.
start our cutout. We've got N2 rotation, we've got
Okay,
N3,
November
and
5 Bravo Echo, stand by 2 seconds.
we've got N1 rotation.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, so what is EPR? EPR is basically the differential in pressure from the N1, so the beginning...
The tow truck is disconnected and the bypass pin is removed.
Thank you very much. The big fan blades that you see in the intake of the engine and the exhaust pressure, so out and in the back. So basically it's the differential. Right now, 1 means that the engines are idling along and they're not producing any thrust whatsoever. As that number or ratio increases, the more it increases, the more thrust we're producing. Kind of makes sense? I'll get into it a little bit more detailed into once we get into the flight. There are advantages to using EPR, there are disadvantages, and there are advantages likewise with N1 and disadvantages there as well, which we'll get into. So fuel goes in,
Left and
we got a
right, both clear.
Ryzen EGT. We've got terrain on this side, traffic, and we will go ahead and zoom out slightly because I don't need it that far in. There we go, 20 miles, 40 miles should be fine.
Ground,
And
good evening, this is FedEx 3492.
We've got
stand
4 good engines.
We'd like to start.
So what we can do is we can turn on the rest of the packs.
FedEx 178,
APU
push
goes
start
off.
approved, face south.
Hydraulics go on. Like so.
Push and start approved, and we'll need to face straight. GSX doesn't work in this case. FedEx 348.
The problems of flight sim. Okay, QNH hasn't changed. 1005 is set on both sides. Let's see, we can go to fuel because we need to configure the crossfeed, etc., etc. So, there we go.
November 058 Bravo Echo.
So we need X-feed configure and fuel tank to engine. So right now it's not tank to engine. Right now these the outside tanks are feeding the outside engine, and these are feeding these. I'm so sorry if I'm talking over ATC. Let's see. So we can what?
Right on 08 left, left on Tango, straight Tango.
There we go.
November 058 Bravo Echo.
That cleared everything. So we want these
058
tanks to feed
Bravo
the
Echo,
inside
that was
engines and the main tanks to feed the outside engines. And that's because, from what I understand, we have more fuel in the outside tanks than we do in the main tanks, or in the outer tanks than we do in the inner tanks. So we're going to use... and the other thing is once the flaps go down, essentially, which, by the way, we'll set to 10, we want, for takeoff configuration, we always want tank to engine. So each tank is supplying to its respective engine. Okay, so that is all set. The flaps are coming out. We will do a quick control check. So we will go to statistics, and we can also set the trim, by the way. So init ref, thrust limit, takeoff. We want 4.7.
Oh, can you
4.
repeat, get ground?
There we go. That's about 4.7. Control check.
Bravo Echo, continue to taxi the way you're facing and take the next right.
Full left.
Oh, turn
Full
right,
right.
08 left. Turn left, 08 left.
Full up. Full down. Rudder. Full left. There we go. Full right. There we go. Neutral. Alright. So we can get rid of this completely. And I've got the ground chart up on the other screen. We will enable TrackIR, see if we're complying today. More or less. Not the smoothest motion I've ever had. Let's see, taxi light goes on. And that's about it, actually, for now. I can turn the runway turn-offs lights on. That, auto brake. Passenger signs are on. Good, good. Alright, let's get out of here. Gatwick ground, Skywest 1786, fully ready for taxi.
Brilliant, right. Where was he? Skyways 1786, you requested taxi, didn't you?
Sure did. Skies 1786 fully ready.
Okay, Skyways 1786, taxi to holding point Romeo 1 for now via Lima and Romeo.
Romeo 1 via Lima and Romeo. Skies 1786. We'll wait for you. Alright, Romeo 1 is our second left. So we're on Lima now. We'll take our second left. And Romeo 1 is just before Juliet.
1 for me at the moment via Sierra.
Well, that's probably for Sierra 1 via Sierra for the moment. Thanks so much.
November 058 Bravo Echo, are you with me?
Affirmative.
November 58 Bravo Echo, if you can turn next left onto Tango, that would be great. FedEx 3492, continue taxi onto Juliet, left onto Tango, right onto 26, right and hold at Juliet 7.
And that continues actually right until left and left onto Tango, runway 25 until holding point 07.
So we are to hold here at Romeo 1, which is the stop line is right there. I suppose we'll wait for the FedEx.
Skyways 1786, continue taxi on to Juliet and hold at Juliet 4.
Juliet, hold Juliet 4, Skyways 1786. Alright. Need absolutely no power to get this thing rolling. We're super light. Well, for a 747 at least. Make sure to the left, look to the right. Ease into the turn. A lot of oversteer in the 747.
And FedEx 34902, contact Gatwick Tower 124.22. Have a great flight. Bye bye.
Tower 124-225, FedEx 3492, thank you very much for your service. Have a great evening as well. Bye bye.
Take it.
Just gonna have a quick look at where the charts of where Juliet 4 is. I don't think it's coming up anytime soon. Juliet 6, Juliet 4. Juliet 4 is all the way at the end, just before the corner at the end. Okay. Cool. No problem. I love the MD-11. I wonder where he's going. Let's have a look. Hang on. Let's see. That's my... Going to Golf Mike X-Ray. Golf Mike X-Ray. Not exactly sure where that is, actually. In the comments, maybe? Somebody? I'll probably figure it out before this video gets posted, and I'll look it up so I know by the time you're commenting. But for everybody else, put it in the comments below.
Skyways 1786,
That's us.
contact Gatwick Tower on 124.22. Have a great flight. Bye bye.
Tower on 12422, Skyways 1786. Take care, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Alright. Over to Tower. Hey, somebody's landing. Who's that? Who's that? That looks like an Airbus of some kind. It is probably EasyJet. Have a quick look. Yep. EasyBus. Very nice. Cool.
FedEx 3490, correction 92, or maybe 0 right another point.
Lighting up and waiting, Starway right, FedEx 349.
Tower, how you doing? Skyways 1786 is behind the FedEx Juliet to hold Juliet 4.
And Skies 1786, how go, Tower, continue.
We'll go.
EV5 is stopping over, back down 1 time, bye bye.
121.85, 6 November, thank you. Wait.
Juliet 4 is somewhere around here.
Skywise 1786, hold Juliet 1.
Hold Juliet 1, Skywise 1786. Snuggle up to the runway now.
FedEx 3492, runway 0 right, clear for takeoff, status and variable 3 knots.
Let's go.
Take off, 0 right, FedEx 3492.
I really want to see this guy take off, so I'm not going to brake too much around this corner. And around we go. Oh, this should be easy.
Skywise 1786, right, Juliet 1, runway 0 right, line of point.
Line up and wait only 08 right, Skywise 1786. I want to turn on my strobes super badly, but I also want to... Okay, let's do it. Quickly. Strobes are there. There we go. Let's watch this guy go. I'm on the taxi line right-ish. This cable. Alright, I'm done. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I've already ranted enough about it. Nice. Good show. Ah, it feels good to be back in Flight Simulator.
FedEx airborne, 2,000 up to 6,000.
FedEx 3492, thank you. For future reference, you don't have to tell me that you're airborne. You can monitor the com now 122.8. Cheers, bye-bye.
So, we are on runway heading like a so. There's the FedEx. Very, very nice. We will turn off the taxi lights. Strobes are on.
Skywise 1786, runway 0 right, clear for takeoff, status and variable 3 knots.
08 right, clear for takeoff, Skywise 1786. Thank you. And auto throttle. Lights. Introduce some power. Start the clock. Let's get out of here. So, throttles go to about 60-ish. I will re-enable TrackIR for the departure. Toga. Thrust ref, Toga, LNAV and VNAV are standing by. I didn't put the transition, but the transition's 6, so climb to 6,000, then we'll sort it out in the air. 100 knots. V1. Rotate. Ease her back. V1 plus 10. Off the ground we are. Positive right, gears coming up. Want to aim slightly left. I was using a little whack of a rudder there. Sorry about the jitteriness. I think it's the TrackIR clip that I'm using. Some of the tape is coming off, or the reflective bits, so it's not liking when I turn my head left for some reason. Either way.
Skywise 1786, Skywise 1786, obviously the call 122.8 play.
Over to Unicom, Skywise 1786. Take care, we'll see you next time. Alright. I'm not going to switch frequencies right now, or just yet, because I want to keep hand flying this thing. It is a fantastic aircraft to hand fly. Feels weighty, feels meaty, just like I said in my initial impressions. I don't want to ever call it a review. So, thrust D-rate has kicked in, so we're in climb 2 now, and we've passed acceleration height. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn TrackIR back off, and we're just going to climb this up to about 6,000 initially. We're gonna go past that very, very quickly after this departure. What I want to do is get the aircraft to start to clean up, so we do flaps 5 now. And we're going to start our right-hand turn towards the 271 outbound radial from Dover, which was the initial plan. Just following the flight director. Pitch down just a skosh. And we can go ahead and autopilot. There we go. Clean up the rest of the aircraft. This can go there. Continuous we don't need. These we don't need. and start cleaning up the aircraft. Flaps are coming all the way up. Alright, so we're settled here at 250 knots, 6,000 feet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the transition in the VNAV, because I forgot to do that. So it's 6,000, like so. And we will go ahead and we will dial it up to our cruise altitude, which is 390, because I'm not hanging around at this altitude, especially not with this much cloud and turbulence. So, all the way up, we will hit this once, twice, 3 times. Clear any restrictions we had. Up goes the power, or in goes the power, up goes the aircraft. Climbing again. Get over this cloud here. We will turn our weather radar with a slight downward tilt bias. We've got traffic above us and descending, but that is off to our left-hand side. We will standardize our altimeters, like so. And what else? All of that is fine. We can release the flight attendants for now. Climbing rapidly through 7700. We will go ahead and turn to Unicom because I don't want to hear tower anymore. There we go. We're all by ourselves. The English countryside clearing up and the clouds dispersing as we head towards the coast and Dover. Let's have a quick look outside. Very nice. Passing 10,000, lights go off. Go ahead and sync this up. We'll zoom out a little bit on the old ND. We'll zoom out on the other ND. Top of climb should be just past Conan. And off we go to Zurich.